Connecting. Connection, he was your father. Boom, 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 boom. Alright, let's open up old ZXW.
No, Ken.
What are you doing?
I need to move all this shit.
Yeah, it's her bed.
I know, but I've got limited space.
Limited space, 2 tables. No space.
No space, please.
All my tables with no space.
Boards everywhere, please.
All my table space with no space. You're doing this now too, Brandon? Like the exact same thing right now? What up?
You can move your legs and not have to worry.
Well, Tim, you're gonna have a fun day. Lucky guy. What's up, Martin? What's up, Lisa? Let's see here. Alright, so the context around this video is last night Mark and Jessa were doing a stream, and Mark made a comment about the ground plane under a lot of ICs is shared during the, or not during, through the IC. So theoretically, if worst case scenario, you had to only use one ground, that he said that the touch IC should still work. Of course, some people disagreed, so I figured I would try it out and see if it works. I think it will. It may not function exactly how it's supposed to. I think it'll still work for the most part, but we're gonna see if it actually will or not. I find that a lot of the stuff, and this isn't a knock on people who are engineers, but I do find that a lot of engineer people are strict guidelines kind of people, like it must be this way, it has to work this way. But in reality, in this repair industry, you can't always appease the circuit design that is needed for it to properly function. So if worst case scenario came along and you had a Meson chip that was maybe underfilled or something, or some freak chance that you've ripped up all the grounds under the IC and there's only one left, would it still work? So what I'm going to do is pull Meson. We're going to check for continuity throughout the chip for the ground line that it's tied to, because if it's not continuity through the actual chip, then obviously it's not going to work. But if it is continuity through the chip, then we'll see. And then we'll test and see. I'm going to, instead of removing every pad from the board, I'm just going to use some UV coating, put a thin layer on the chip, hide all the grounds except one, and then reball it, and then see what happens. So we'll start off by removing the IC and go from there. And the reason I think it'll work is because there's other ICs that don't have as much ground as Meson. Cumulus being a perfect example. It only has 4 pads that go to ground, and I've seen several times on other chips that only have a couple grounds, and you remove one and it'll still work properly as it should with no issues. So we're going to test out and see if this is true. Now the IC on this board is not my favorite. These ICs tend to have problems. As I spoke about in the last video, of the 2 touch ICs that are on the market for the 6 Plus, there is a large writing, which is what this one is. It has a large screen print on it, and then there's a small type screen print on it, and the larger of the 2 tends to have more issues with reballing. They don't tend to work, or they have really weird issues. So I may try to see if I've got another IC. Let me see what this one has. Is this big print or small print? This is big print also. I'm running out of the small print. I've ordered some more, but I'm waiting to see. Yeah, take some bets now. What do you all think will happen? Do you all think the IC will work with just one shared ground? Or do you think it requires all the ground pads? The consensus that was said on the other post was that those ground pads are needed for any type of EMI shielding, I guess, for the signal lines. Okay, there's a small IC, so you can see the actual silk screen, the difference in the print size. The top one being the one we pulled off is much larger, and the bottom one being the small print, which is much smaller. We have much more luck out of these than we did the large one, so I'm going to put the large one off to the side for now. Let's make sure that this IC is okay, because this was pulled from another board. Looks fine. Got some dry pads, no big deal. Let's go ahead and knock those down, and then we'll do some testing on the IC to see if we have continuity through it. Will work depending on current draw. I don't know what the current draw would have to do with it. Maybe, I guess, if the ground isn't substantial enough and the current draw overpowers it, maybe. Worked with your shares of engineers. Yeah, we've got a few friends. One of them is a engineer for BMW. He actually travels back and forth between Europe and the United States where he lives, and he is one of those types that is strict by the book engineer. If it doesn't add up in his calculation, then it can't work. And a lot of times that's not the case, but I think that's the main key you have to notice with Jessa is, and she makes it a clear point to tell people that practical repair is not, it's not engineering repair. It's not, hey, our bypass capacitance here is not enough that this chip won't cause any type of ripple in the line down the back towards the main power supply, or this and that. I mean, it's not about making sure that it's completely 100% within spec of whatever circuit design you have or whatever it is. Sometimes things can't be perfect and you just have to kind of roll with them. So let's see here. Let's see if we can even see. Sometimes you can see the shared ground in these if it's done on the actual top layer here. But we'll use our multimeter, and then I'm going to see which direction our chip is faced right now, so I can tell our orientation while it's flipped. So this is top right here. Top right is on the left top for us right now. So let's get in continuity mode. There's a ground in each corner, so let's see if those are shared. Okay, each ground in the corner is shared. Alright, so from the top right, if we go down 1 and over 3, so we go, we're not down 1 over 3, we want to go, well actually yeah, down 1 over 3, so down 1 over 3. Okay, so these grounds are not shared, it seems. Let's make sure. Okay, so that might throw a kink in it right away. Down 1 over 3. So it's showing a ground on the schematic. It's supposed to be right there. Let's try it here. It's over 3, down 2, yeah. So that ground may be separate. Looks like the rest of the grounds here, though. Well, 3 of them are shared. We have 2 here that are not shared, so we'll have to leave those. So those grounds can't be gone, evidently. Alright, so 3 down, 5 over. So 3rd down here, and then 5th pad over. Looks like that one's not shared either. So there's a lot of unshared ground in this chip. So we have to weed out which shared grounds there are and which aren't, because what Mark said is that the shared ground in the IC if you only had one hooked up, should be fine. So if it's not a shared ground, we can't really test it that way. So if we go over 3, we should have ground that's shared. It's not shared ground and not shared ground. So these two here are not shared grounds. Second row, we've got 2. Those are shared, so we can get rid of these. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 and 3. So 5, 3 is not shared. 6, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4 is shared. 5, 6, and 7 should all be shared. Okay, so it seems that 7 is not shared. We have a gap. And then this one here is not shared. So we've got quite a few that are not shared under the IC. Let's scroll back up in chat. Chasing capsaicin, thermal management. Yeah, I agree. Shared grounds most likely have a lot to do with thermal management. Bum, bum, bum. Alright, so where were we? So we got done with that row. So there's quite a few not shared grounds in here, which is fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's good to know which ones aren't. Okay, that one's not shared either. That should be ground. Okay, so over 1 should be ground. That's shared, 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 shared. Let's see. There should be a gap, and then there should be another one. Okay, so that's not shared ground either. Alright, let's see. So we go over. There's an unshared ground there. So this whole row is unshared throughout the chip. That one is shared though. There's one here that's not shared. Okay, so we got quite a few that are not shared through the chip, and then some that are. So we're going to block off the ones that are shared and see if it'll still work. So let's get our UV. I'm going to go ahead and actually wick this chip real quick, just to make sure it's as flat as we can get it. I don't want any large solder bumps or anything on here, because we're going for removal of ground. I have to do my hold the chip while wicking method here.
ATT guy. Eno had me tell me about y'all. I don't know if it's just dirty or something wrong.
Is the speaker up here that's muffled?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Earpiece.
I can barely hear.
Uh,
I said, yeah, I can barely hear. Let me take a look at it. Come on. Tear it off the bed. Come on, lay down.
If it's just, I got a bottle on its way. Let's see. What's in for? So skips goes here. Okay, so that's good. Alright, so here. Here. Alright. That's awesome. Be careful with that flex. Just be careful with that flex.
Which one?
The top flex. When you're taking it off. I wouldn't try to take it completely out. Just get it where you can get the speaker out and see through the mesh. Wire we conform with coating pads on an IC to test if shared ground and the chip can still function with just one pad that's shared. Boom, 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 boom. All right. Let's see. 4 hour. we need to flood this with some lidded. Our M1 pad came off, which I knew was going to happen because it was already having touch IC issues. I was hoping the pad would stay though. Alright. Let's get cutters. I'm gonna do the one thing just that doesn't like, I'm gonna wick this. Alright. We believe in wicking when needed. Wire. Let's see. Okay. Piece of wire disappeared. Oh, there it is. What?
I thought it was an iPhone 6 Plus. I already know what I did wrong.
What are you talking about?
I barely did, but the long flux.
God damn it. I don't have one here, dude. Or maybe, hold on. Yeah, or maybe. I don't know if it's 7 Plus. Probably 7 Plus. How do you think it was a 6 Plus?
Because the back just says iPhone, so I didn't think about looking at the camera.
How, look at the screen when you took it off. How do you think that's a 6 Plus?
Because it looks like 6 Plus, and then whenever I went to, whenever I went to lift, I felt some resistance. I was like, okay, this isn't. That's how I felt resistance.
What did you rip?
The long flex touch line.
Well, you're gonna have to replace the screen now. He told you what it was when he walked in. He said it's a 7. Use the premium one. Use the good one. $20 fix goes into $100 and something fix. Huh?
Screen's name.
What?
Screen's name.
Yeah, I'm gonna put another one for free. He's not paying attention. So. What do for you? Yeah, it's not ready. It's a Galaxy Tab. Yeah. It's not ready. No. Does he have your number? Yeah. Okay, we'll call you as soon as it's done.
Oh no, I haven't done it.
I know. That's what I said. It'll be sometime today. We'll give you a call. No problem. BNC? Yes he is. Need to speak to him? Okay. Micah.
Which tablet was
It is seal. That is indeed true. Beautiful. Does anyone keep their solder paste in the fridge? I don't. I see no point in it.
Oh no. Where did you go, IC? I'm sure you made it directly to the floor, because that's what you all do. Is that it, or is it three?
It's not it. Well, damn. Reball the IC and shoot it off into the floor. This would be my look. Lose the IC. Then it worked on it.
Just checking if you guys had any more iPads for sale.
Not right now, hold on.
Nah,
Yeah, we do. You got that one down me, Chris.
I thought you sold it. Oh,
We'll go back. iPad mini here.
Oh, okay.
What is it, 150 or is it 120? 120.
What generation or whatever?
iPad mini, yeah, one.
Okay. How good or bad is that compared to, like, what do we had before?
I think they're 4.
just came out with that.
And the other main question I have is, like, what about off-brand things like Showbox? Will that go on this?
I have no idea, honestly.
Is 125
Mm-hmm.
with the fancy case?
Yep.
That's good. I'm stupid.
What's that IC? To redo another one. That sucks.
Comes with the chargers, everything. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And also too, like, do you guys take trade-ins towards it? You're all interested? Amazon.
No, not really.
I didn't think so. It's quite slow. And, like, I'm not gonna argue with you on that or try to sell it. But I am looking to get rid of it if you guys want it at all.
No, probably not.
I'll put it on eBay, it's slightly used. Alright, well I get paid Thursday and that'll be a thing. This is still here Thursday.
Alright, sounds good.
You don't by any chance have any different colors in my opinion. Really, it's a functional form. Just want something that's gonna be faster than this thing is.
No problem. Well, it sucks. It shot the IC into the 4 and I don't know where the fuck it went, so. We have carpet here, so it makes it even better. So, I'll redo an IC then. Because, yay, I like wasting time. That's what I get for not holding it with my tweezers. Hold it with the tweezers.
BNC, how may I help you?
These are fairly flat. What's up, Mike?
iPhone 7 Plus, we have two options. We have,
You might want to make sure what color,
what color do you have?
because you're using the
Black?
original.
I think the black one's
do this again. Hello.
I haven't seen too many issues. But yeah, there's not too much difference between the so. Take about 45 minutes. No problem, done. I've also got it assembled up.
Okay. I've got a doctor's appointment in like 20 minutes over at bed in Greenview. They're gonna be
It might take me about five.
five. Yeah,
to-
I can hang for 5.
Okay.
Not rushing yet, just Saturday.
Okay.
Alright, let's try. Thank you, Paul. Alright. Let's revolve this again.
Sorry about that. So
That's
$20.
what happens. How much?
$20.
$20.
Was it the mic or just?
It just needed to be cleaned out, but whenever I opened it, I didn't hear it, and I thought it was an iPhone 6, so I went to open it like an iPhone 6 and it ripped that cable.
Looks good.
Okay.
Thank
All right.
you guys.
You too, sir. I'll pay you first, though.
I have no idea. What? Just nudged the shit out of the chip. Didn't mean to, but hopefully it didn't fuck it up.
These ones with the blue bars, blue red bars.
They're mobile centrics. Alright, let's see if I nudge that too hard or if it still works. Nope, short under Meson. Because I nudged it too fucking hard. So I'm going to have to pick the chip back up and then place it back on. How much? For the premium?
LCD assembly with force touch panel for iPhone 7 premium quality black.
Oh, alright.
Did it go down or is that up?
Sounds cheaper. But, I mean, it's whatever, just replace the panel, I don't give a shit. Alright. Hopefully our IC is not dead. Sometimes that can't happen. That was showing a amperage draw that detected a short under Meson, which definitely could have happened. As hard as I nudged it, it very well could have shorted out under the chip. Yeah, it's still high. Still read high. So that probably means the IC is bad. There's not going to be any touch based off of the amp draw. It's booting out, but there's not going to be any touch because the amp draw says that the chip itself is shorted out. So we'll have to grab another IC here in a second. Try that out. Alright, so let's pull that IC back off. And we'll have to get a different one.
You want to go ahead and submit it on just this one, or do you want me to wait until we know if you need
I'll probably have to order more stuff, so just leave it.
I'm going to work on the slide. I want to set the dirt to the side.
Do you ever stop one project to get a few wins? Yeah, Mike, if there's difficult, like if they're really difficult or they're just fucking giving you trouble, I'll stop and come back to them. It's just not worth the headache sometimes. Alright, let's see, do we have any bridged? Looks okay. You can see our open pads. It looks pretty cool. All our shared grounds on this one. unplug the screen and boot it up without the IC on and make sure that we still get a clean boot with no problems. No problem, Mark. Thank you. Thank you for the donation. It's much appreciated. Like I said, any money that's donated goes towards adding to the stream. If our mic keeps going porn mode, we may have to change mics. Yeah, boots up normal without the IC on. No short detection. Alright, so we definitely had an issue with that IC. So we're going to keep that one, compare them side by side, that way we can just do the grounds. Greg, there's one ground on the chip that I left open. So all four corners of the IC have a shared ground, so I left this one here, and then the rest of them are shared grounds throughout the chip. Now there's other grounds that aren't shared that I left, because if they're not shared to the main ground for the IC, that kind of defeats the purpose of what we were talking about. Mark was talking about on this chip, when you place it down, there are two pads up in this corner, and he was talking about removing this pad right here. So he said if you make the jumper, you can remove this pad and it won't cause any issues, because the rest of it is shared through the ground of the chip. So the ground that is shared on this pad is shared here, 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 all these, these, and this one. So we wanted to test and see if the chip will work with just a single ground, because Mark said hypothetically if you removed all those grounds, it should still work with one pad. And I agree with that. I think that it should. I think the only drawback to not having that shared ground there would possibly be heat. Grounds usually on the ICs are used to clean out signal and for heat dissipation. So if the heat dissipation is there, maybe that it can cook this chip. I mean, that's completely possible. But I think as long as there's one ground, that the function of the chip on that shared ground line should be fine. So far the first one we did when we placed it, it's showing that the IC has an internal short, which is signified by a high amp draw on initial boot, which was I've seen several times with many of these ICs. This is not the first, and it won't be the last. When they first boot up, they should draw about 200 milliamps if they are in the correct position and there's no shorts on the lines. If they are shorted out, though, you will get a high amp draw of about 600 to 700 milliamps on boot, which will be associated with no touch later on. So as soon as I saw that, I figured, hey, we got a problem. Pulled the chip back off, put it back on, still remained. So we know it's internal to the IC. So we're going to see if that short was from the chip itself, or maybe missing those grounds caused that chip to short out immediately. Maybe there's too much current draw through the ground or something and caused the IC to burn itself up internally. Most of the time I see that it's a short on, I think, the 1V8 line that causes that. It's not like a, I don't think it's like a full short, but it's like a partial. See. what model is your mask light? It's in the description down below, Fade. Or Fad, however you say your name, sorry. Fade or Fad. If you look below, it should be in the description down there. In the YouTube description. If not, I can read it off here. Okay, so the chip should be like so. We'll bring over our other one, which is, yep, that's correct orientation. So we got this pad here, this pad here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This pad here. We need to drag our alright, so 1 and then 4 over, 1, 4 over. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then these 3. Okay. 1 over, 3 down. And then these 2 and this one. And this corner one. And then the 6th out. Alright, so let's cure that one now. What's up, Anthony? What's everyone up to? Well, I'm over here trying to purposely sabotage an iPhone to see if it'll still work. We're just waiting for some cure time. Let's go ahead and get our paper towel for our IC reball. The exact model number on this one is I don't know. It is a Houlight, H-O-U-L-I-G-H-T, and it is a 10 watt UV LED light. I got it because there was a guy in Nashville that had one when we did the unconference with iFixit, and I was amazed as how fast it would cure the UV, and mine would take 17 years, so I decided I would get one for myself, and now I share that knowledge with you all. Alright, so this one already still has the balls on there, so that'll be a little easier. I don't have to worry about the paste too much. Okay, got that down. Time to reball it. Ta-da! Let it cool. Okay, see if we can poke it out of here. There it goes. Alright. Valves are reformed, looking good. Now we'll know here shortly if this chip has the same exact fault. We'll know that those grounds do have to be there, most likely for some type of voltage control. Or not necessarily control, but just proper amperage control, I guess. You need enough ground to offset the power coming in. If you can't handle it, maybe it burns itself up. So we're going to find out here shortly. It's interesting to see what these do. Alright. Falling on the board is minimal, so I'm not too worried about that. I can just leave that there. We'll call those our fluffy pillows that Jessa always likes to talk about. Those are our perfectly formed puffy pillows that we have. Alright, so let's place our IC approximately where it should be. Right about there. Okay, flux melted a little. Now we're going to let it do its job. Let the IC sit down on its own. There it goes. Get a little tap. It's good. Alright, so let's let that cool. Brand new Meson? No, it's used. Lost the curing UV mask part. Are you talking about the lamp? The LED lamp? It's just the 10-watt LED UV light. It should be linked in the description. Anthony, do you think their charger's just bad? Sounds like their charger is just faulty. Kinda love customers that it's probably some cheap ass fucking dollar store one too. We have people come like that all the time. They're like, it's not charging. I'm like, well, can I see your cord? And they either bring out like the rattiest cord ever that's got like the coating hanging off of the fucking side of it, or they pull out some cheap ass dollar store charger, and I'm like, well, it's probably that. Alright, so now if I can just plug in this FPC, we'll be doing good. Alright, so let's plug in our cable. Let's see if we get the high amp draw again, or if we're okay. Oh, amp draw is normal. So we're at 200 milliamps and starting up, which is normal, what we should see. Let's see if it keeps acting normal or if it gets hot and shuts off maybe. Could be a possibility. 100% possibility. The screen looks absolutely shitty there. It's not that dirty looking in person. You can see all the fingerprints on it though. Alright, so the phone is on. Look at there. Touch works. So that's with one single ground supplying for the entire chip. So let's go into settings. Okay, in the settings, Touch ID is not working. We know we don't have one hooked up. Let's go to accessibility, down to assistive touch, turn that on. We'll test every section here. Make sure we have touch to every corner, which we do. So that's kind of proof in the pudding there, that while it is good to have the grounds, because I'm sure this chip probably gets pretty warm without all those grounds, especially when touch is active. Although it's a capacitive touch matrix, so I'm not sure how much heat it could actually create, but obviously we want to have as much as we can. Yep, that's the exact one there, Lynn. 24 bucks. Yep. So yes, in electrical engineering, it's not good to leave off grounds, especially with heat dissipation in the board and EMI shielding, this and that. I mean, there's a lot of grounds on this IC that go to other sections, but this was more just to talk about the point that Mark was making, that I felt got kind of misconstrued and taken to another place. Mark's statement was what I felt was a comment about the ground that's shared through the IC that could be removed off that corner, and obviously if you remove just that corner it's going to work. And Mark made the statement that theoretically if you only had one shared ground through the IC that it would work the same, and obviously with the one shared ground through the IC with all the other shared points blocked off, the IC is still working, and I would suspect would work fine. It may fail due to heat, but at this point, with just a little light use there after putting the IC on, so obviously it does work. So I am going to stop the stream for just a minute. I'm gonna go ahead and get us some lunch, and then I'll be back on. We've got some mail-in work to do. Let me see what we have. Looks like a possible touch IC here based on the size of the packaging. No, it's a 6S. Doesn't say what's wrong with it, so I have to use my imagination. This one is touch IC, so that's one touch IC for the day, and we have another 6 Plus here. Does not say what's wrong with it, just says send off, and I suspect that it's probably going to be a touch IC also. So we have a 6S that has some mysterious problem, and we have a 6S, or we have a 6 Plus that's touch IC, and then we have another mysterious problem, 6 Plus. So I will be back in a little bit. Yeah, Mark, I agree. The only thing probably would be heat. Anyway, so that was just kind of a video to prove a point, not necessarily a big issue, but just showing that in practical board repair and practical work that we do, and that's why Justice stresses the term practical so much, is the simple fact that maybe on paper an engineer may say, well, this isn't good, it's not going to function. In reality, it will function. It may just not hold up or may not work as intended all the time, but just from the work that we've showed just now, a single ground that's shared throughout a chip, if you only have one point touching that ground, if it is shared, the chip will still work. So I will see you all in a little bit, probably be about an hour, but I'll be back on. We'll do some board repairs, and we'll do more just fucking around, I guess. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in a bit.